from missile strikes. Her understanding as a child was, my leg is now in Jannah, and one day, inshallah, I intend to meet it there. Are you living in such a way that gives an acknowledgement that there is something bigger than dunya? And the opportunity to then think about, we build this, what do we build next? We create a space, but we're not just building buildings, we're building roots that give a demonstration that we are from here and of here, and we intend to be here, and we're going to utilize the best of what it is that's been given to us to do what's right simply because it's the right thing to do. That I have an aspiration to understand in the spirit of istikhlaf. I am the answer potentially to the du'as of my predecessors. And I will honor their struggles by making struggles of my own. But in that spirit of istikhlaf, I'm going to have my own ancestors one day too. I'm going to be the ancestor to somebody else. And when they think back to me generations from now, what is it that they are going to be thanking me for or vilifying me for based off of how it was I conducted myself while I was in this world? Think for a moment from the heart of a believer, somebody who's willing to let Iman be a part of your day-to-day existence, that recognizes the temporary should never be in spite of what is forever. And if you inventory your choices and decisions of this day, of this week, of this last month, not in a way that's self-deprecating, but just reflective and contemplative of a reality that, again, you don't have to believe it for it to be true. But if we start to acknowledge and bring that conviction into our lives, the routines in which we engage will likely change. Being Muslim in here is not the goal, but the goal is to take what it is that we do in here, and it then enables and informs us to be Muslim when we are outside of this space. Muslim in our character, Muslim in our ethic, Muslim in our demeanor, Muslim in our attitude. Our Islam is never meant to be a liability. It's always an asset. And I enable myself to build and grow in such a way that I take the spiritual gifts that my God has endowed me with, and I think about how I utilize them in pursuit of what is pleasing to Him. And then when I come back here for replenishment, I recognize and realize that the world is really heavy for a lot of people right now. Allah make it easy. Do you know who you pray with that might have lost family members in Sudan? Do you know who you pray with who might have lost family members in Gaza and West Bank? Do you know who you pray with right now who doesn't have a job or hasn't eaten properly in days? Do you know who you pray with who might be living in an abusive home at the moment? We have responsibility that when people come into Allah's house, to understand the house of God is supposed to draw attention to God, to serve as a reminder to our divine creator. And the way people will feel that presence in one part, not absolutely, is that we will welcome them in, not push them away, by serving as reminders of Allah's existence and the existence of His rahmah, the existence of His compassion, His mercy, His love, by being reminders of those things. I want you to think about it just for a moment. Truly, how many people did you pray with today? And how many of their names do you know? How many people do you stand with side by side in your prayer, daily, weekly, monthly? And how many of them have you shared a meal with? The hadith is what is real. It's not me saying it. Which Islam is the best? feeding others and greeting those that you know and those that you don't know. The qualifications that we put that create separation doesn't make any sense because the rights are still there whether we honor them or not. Somebody sneezes, you say Rahmakullah, the janazah takes place, you pray the janazah and follow the burial. Somebody is sick, you visit the people who are sick. The greeting is given to you, you return the greeting. An invitation is offered, you accept the invitation. Why do you only visit the sick that you know? Why do you only pray the janazah for people that you know? Why do you only greet the people that you know? What about the people that you don't know? And you can make whatever justifications in your head. The realities of it come forth on a day of judgment. If you're only speaking to people who share race with you, culture with you, class with you, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah transcends all of these things. A good friend of mine, Mufti Abdurrahman Wahid, some of you might know him. He's part of the Miftah Institute in Michigan. He told us a beautiful story of when he went for Hajj this last year. May Allah accept it from him and all those who have made the Hajj. And he said that there was a man in his group that was also Punjabi, the way that my family is Punjabi. And if you speak Punjabi speaking people tend to not always be known as the most polite individuals. The language is seen as a tough language. And Mufti Abdurrahman, he's saying that it's hard to speak beautifully in Punjabi. These were his words, not mine. And he said there was a man from Punjab that was on Hajj with them in this last year. Never had left Punjab before. So you think about the magnitude of the experience. Individuals who come from villages, countries that they have never flown out of before, and they go into Mecca, Medina, and now see people of all backgrounds and experience Islam in that way. And he said this man made dua at Arafah. And in his dua, in Punjabi, he was saying to Allah, that Ya Allah, thank you for bringing me to this place. That I have met Muslims from everywhere. I met Muslims who are from China. I met Muslims from Turkey. I met Muslims from Malaysia. Ya Allah, I met Muslims from Kenya and from Senegal and Sudan. Ya Allah, I met Muslims from Europe and Muslims from America. And he said, Ya Allah, I went through Mecca and Medina and Arafah and met my brothers and sisters from all over the world. But I didn't meet anybody from Gaza. He said, Ya Allah, next year make sure to send someone from Gaza for Hajj. How does somebody whose entire existence is brought up with people who are only like them, thinking about those who are not present in that moment? And you gotta wanna have a heart that's like that too. Not one that finds contentment in recognizing that I was gifted something because I believe that I deserve it, but it was given to me actually as a gift. And I remember those who undertook their own struggles and sacrifices so that I start to make struggles and sacrifices of my own. I love coming to Toronto. It's one of the places that my wife and my kids like to come. I come to Canada now maybe once a month. In a couple of weeks, Sheikh Yasser Qadi and I are going to be in Ottawa and Montreal together, also with this organization, Human Appeal, that brought me here today. And if you're able to stop at the table and speak to this brother Rashad and hear about the good work that they're doing, you should. And every time I come to Canada, man, somebody says to me, you got to come and try this new halal place that opened. This restaurant open, that restaurant open, Ridgeway Plaza, you definitely have to see it. I've been to Ridgeway Plaza so many times. The first time I went to Ridgeway Plaza, these brothers took me, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and we went to an oud store that was open at 1 o'clock in the morning for some reason. I don't know who's buying oud at 1 o'clock in the morning, but there was a lot of people in the oud store at Ridgeway Plaza at 1 a.m. I was literally wearing this same outfit, and we walked in. I'm not a big guy. The two guys that were with me, much bigger than me. There's a group of sisters standing at the counter, and they looked at us, and then one came over to me and she said to me, "Can I ask you something?" And I said, "Sure." She said, "Are you a prince?" And I said, "No, I'm not a prince." And she said, "You look like a prince." I said, "I'm not a prince. I would know if I was a prince." And then we walked out into Ridgeway Plaza, and it was filled with all kinds of food and beverage establishments. Which is beautiful, mashallah. That can't be what you guys are known for. Just places of consumption. You want Muslims here to be known for the contributions that they're making. Not just how we're feeding ourselves, but how it is that we feed others. I come here every year for the IRS conference. Some of you might have gone. We're in downtown Toronto, and it's cold in Canada. And last year when I came, I was walking through the streets of downtown Toronto, and there was literally people whose bodies were turning blue from the sheer cold, covering themselves with the remnants of Amazon packages, cardboard that had holes in it. And I told one brother that there's so many more homeless people than I've ever seen in my life. And his response to me was, "It's so hard for us. I try to take my family to go and eat at places, and we're so uncomfortable because they're sleeping in the streets." I said, "Ya Allah, help me to never see the world this way." 30,000 Muslims are in a space. How is it fundamentally possible that anybody's sleeping in the freezing cold without even a blanket or socks? If you want to know if what's happening in here is transformational, you just got to see how it is that you're being when you're out there. Let alone, may Allah protect you from it, the realities of fitna after fitna after fitna that take place in masajid all over the world. Let your prayer be about really cultivating your heart and connecting it to Allah, to giving you an energy that enables you to say that I don't want Canadian Muslims to just be known about every place we go to eat. I want the Muslims in Canada to be known for being a force that even when the world forgot the world's forgotten, we always remembered them. We ate less so that others could have more. We fasted as a community so that we could save money and send it to people who have nothing to eat ever. The best Islam is to feed others and to greet those that you know and those that you don't know. At the end of time, people will only greet those that they know. You don't even acknowledge the person, let alone then what their total needs are. The importance, man, is that the benefit comes back to me. Because the helping of someone else is not because they are helpless. It's an opportunity for me to think, am I really a Muslim in reality or just one in name? Is my iman bringing me to engage in a mode of deliberate action that allows for me to not simply be Muslim in this beautiful space, but to be bold enough to be Muslim when I leave from these doors? Muslims are not racist, so don't be racist. Don't validate practices that keep you away from people that are other than you because you think you should only be eating with, marrying into, or spending time with people who share culture, race, and class, or that your kids should only do that. How will you answer Allah on that day? It doesn't matter if your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers would think a certain thing. You have to fundamentally think, the one that you are praying to when you are in this space, what is he going to say when you told your child you cannot be in some type of friendship, relationship, marriage to someone simply because where they come from is different from where you come from? This is Iblis's sunnah. I am of fire, he is of earth. Meaning what I am from makes me better than what he is from. May Allah make us those who follow the sunnah of his body. Gossiping, backbiting, lying, cheating, these are all from the maharim. But they become obstacles by cloaking our hearts and not enabling us to see outwardly in the ways that we can. How are you going to give a blanket to someone sleeping on the street if you don't even notice that they're there? And whose responsibility is it if it's not us as Muslims? We're supposed to be bold enough to live differently, to enable our decisions and choices, to offer us a vision that says, I live bigger than myself, purely for the sake of Allah. What I'd like for you to do just is two things as we wrap up. One, is I've been talking for a while, and I don't like to talk a lot, especially in more intimate gatherings like this. Again, I apologize for being late. You turn to the persons next to you, exchange some names. The persons behind you, exchange some names, give salams, learn about each other. And then two, what are you taking away from this conversation so far? What is it bringing up for you? Ideas at the juncture that we're in right now. I don't see anybody that's 5 years old in this room. I could be wrong, but you have to get to a place where your mode of existence in learning about your tradition does not remove from you the ability of your own reflection. We're not asking you to develop fiqh rulings or rulings that are theological or doctrinal. I'm just asking you to have a thought about the ideas that'll help for you to cultivate your own sense of relationship to them. So let's turn to the persons behind us, in front of us, next to us, exchange some names. What did you take away so far from the conversation? It's going to only work if you're willing to share. Don't speak only because you think you have the right thing to say, and don't be silent because you're worried about saying the wrong thing. And the other thing that you pick up is the ability to listen to somebody else. So don't jump to negate what somebody's saying. Just listen, take in a little bit, but let's turn to one another. What are we taking away so far? If you don't know the names of the person sitting around you, if you want to change the chairs into like you're facing each other, that's fine too. Let's do that for 3 minutes and then we'll come back. Go ahead.
If you don't mind, I have to leave.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Thank you for staying.
Yeah. So
We're going to wrap up soon.
Yeah. So you're from Kashmir.
जी
Kashmir. इजाज भट्ट मेरा नाम है.
अच्छा माशाल्लाह
कुछ मस्जिद की ग्राउंड ब्रेकिंग की
जी जी
वो मैंने की.
अच्छा अल्लाह कबूल करे इंशाल्लाह बस दुआ में रखें
और ठीक ठाक है.
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह
इनका दुआ में याद रखना.
तौफीक
Thank you for the
just took you around. Okay. Shh. It's not hard, right, to talk to the people that you're sitting with. Do you know? And it's not necessary to be awkward. The Prophet's companions were as young as his grandchildren, Hassan and Hussein radiallahu anhuma, as old as his uncle Hamza radiallahu an, and everybody in between. You have to build connections through meaningful interactions. It's not easy, but it's possible. And some of it's going to come with a sense of just, let's take time. If we had more time here, I would ask you all to share with me some of what you discussed and talked. You should do these things, convene together, talk about the things that you can come with commonality. This pedagogy that just has somebody come and throw words at us and doesn't enable us to take moments to reflect and contemplate, it doesn't then make things as concrete as it could be. Do you see what I mean? We're going to take a pause. I'm going to ask you all to join me in making a dua as we close out. If any of you are ever in New York City and I can do anything for you, please let me know. It would be an honor to return some of the hospitality that I received while I was here with you in this community. This is the only time that we're meant to be together. Then I pray, inshallah ta'ala, Allah Azza wa Jal gathers us all together again in the best of places in the world beyond this one. We can close, inshallah, by making dua for our sisters and brothers in Palestine. So you want to just recenter yourself to the space for a moment and recognize that in our theology, our belief is that before anything came into existence, Allah had written that we would all be here together at this moment, at this time. He didn't bring us together to be mean to each other or terrible to one another. He didn't bring you to this beautiful place so that it would create entitlement and arrogance. Put away the distractions of anything that the world has, and just with a deep love, enable yourself to turn to your Creator, asking of Him to accept our dua and giving better than what it is that we are asking of. Allahumma ameen. اللهم لك الحمد كما ينبغي لوجهك وعظيم سلطانك لك الحمد حمدا طاهرا طيبا مباركا فيه إلى يوم الدين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وفي الآخرين اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين. We begin this supplication in your name, Ya Allah, and beseech you to send your choicest salutations upon your most beloved, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. We come tonight to pray for our sisters and brothers in the West Bank, Gaza, and throughout Palestine. Shower upon them and us your infinite mercy and grant all of us only the best in this world and the best in the next. Grant them freedom, Ya Rabbi, and make us a generation that witnesses a free Palestine in our lifetime. Guide the footsteps of our sisters and brothers living under this horrific occupation, and deepen us in our trust, love, and care for them and each other so that we might come together to help them at this time. Send them only those who will be their helpers and supporters, and protect them from any further affliction, anxiety, or anguish. Open their hearts to receive all of the love that we are sending them on this day, and envelop them in your divine love always, Ya Wadud. Grant them peace, relax their fears, and remove from them any impediment that keeps them from doing all that they are able to do. The burdens of life sometimes seem too heavy to bear. The anxiety and anguish that sits inside of us feels bigger at times than the world around us. We seem to be surrounded by a darkness that is impenetrable. Tonight we ask you, for the sake of our brothers and sisters who need us to be better than our best, to give us courage. Our struggles are real, but your promise is true. Indeed, with hardship, there always comes ease. Remove from our hearts any fears or inhibitions, and replace them with an ever-increasing boldness to live each moment as best as we can. Fill our hearts with a fire of your love and a desire for nothing less than justice for all. Make us the conveyors of truth, the purveyors of truth, the couriers, the carriers, the upholders of truth. Let us not be those who are swayed by false fulfillment, but make us from amongst those who taste true contentment. Let us never be those who a strong fear of loss in this world or hope of gaining some portion of it keeps us from speaking out and hearing the truth that we yearn for. Keep us from being silent, Ya Allah, when others lie, and help us to never lie to ourselves consciously or unconsciously. Bring people into our lives that we love so much that our love for them moves us to be courageous, never foolish. People who we love so much that our dedication to their well-being is rooted in wisdom and mindfulness. Make us people who find strength through selflessness, not selfishness, sincerity, and never self-centeredness. Help us to see this world always through hearts that are drawn towards goodness, to silence fear and abolish anxiety, to overpower indifference and break away from greed, to eliminate arrogance and defeat racism, to be bold enough to ask of you to make us those who do only that which is good. Help us to be above what is simply normal and to never compromise on who it is that we are for those who only accept us when we become that which we are not. Forgive us when we unknowingly or knowingly become the cause of unwanted compromise in the lives of those around us, or hurt others in ways that at times we don't even realize. Make us those who are never embarrassed by our faith, those who always see our race, our heritage, our class, our danger, our religion as a means of strength and never something that we wish wasn't a part of us. Make us outstanding by not being afraid to stand out, to be firm and resolved in our conviction and values, and any distinction and distinguishing of ourselves to be rooted only in love. Setting ourselves apart does not mean we have to be distant from other hearts, and help us to carry you, Ya Allah, in our hearts always. Help us to never fear the path of truth for the lack of people walking on it, and bless us with leaders to follow who walk firmly upon it. Let our unity be not tied to uniformity of the external, but instead make us sisters and brothers of all colors in our unity based off of a uniformity of our hearts and values. Make those of us gathered here on this night, and all those who are part of this community, those who use their strength, their power, their sheer will and determination to break down the walls of inequity and injustice and oppression that confine so many today. Help us to truly be those who come together on principles of truth, patience, and mercy, so we can do for others what we have the ability to do. Inspire us to start thinking now of everything people will need once this violence passes, and how and who we will build with to fill those needs. Inspire us to think of the abused, the widowed, the orphans, the refugees, the incarcerated, the detained, those who have no hospitals, let alone health care. Inspire us to think of those with no homes, no shelters, no money, the displaced, the poor and needy, all those who are in a place of us just opening up our responsibility towards them. Inspire us to be generous and honest, people of integrity and sound character. Inspire us to live our Islam in such a way that our presence brings benefit to all those who are around us and uplifts every day the hearts that beat deeply within us. Let us always be the reason people have hope in this world, and never the reason that people might dread it. Let our anger be only at injustice, oppression, exploitation of people, so that we will work for justice, equality, and peace. Let our tears shed only for those who suffer from pain, rejection, starvation, and conflict, so we will reach out our hands to comfort them and change their pain into joy. And let our successes be many, as we make a difference in this world by doing the things which others say cannot be done. For all those who have lost loved ones, bring ease to their hearts, and let every tear that they have shed raise their loved ones in rank and degree over and over again. Make those who have passed from the shuhada, and help us to remember them always and to be a continued source of benefit for them. For our sisters and brothers in Palestine, their loved ones, their family members, and all those who are facing any type of hardship in the world at this time. We simply ask, Ya Salam, for peace. Protect us always from hearts that are not humble, tongues that are not wise, and eyes that have forgotten how to cry. Forgive us for our shortcomings and guide and bless us all. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Barakallahu feekum. May Allah bless you and your beautiful community always. Wallahu ta'ala alam wa billahi tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.